Hey everyone, it's Lockhart QT and welcome today. And today we're going to be talking about the fact that, famous composers that worked on the original trilogy of Mass Effect games could be returning for the next game. So let's get right started. So Mass Effect's music design and overall soundtrack and OST, I think we can all agree overall is amazing, it's brilliant, it's fantastic. Some of my favourite tracks are the theme for Ranark in Mass Effect 3, which obviously includes Tali's theme because that's like a version of that as well, the view from Palaven from Mass Effect 3, the Galaxy Map theme both from the original trilogy and Andromeda, and much more. But who do we have to thank for all of this iconic original trilogy amazing music? Well, of course, Sam Hulick, as well as Jack Hall and other members of the Bioware team, of course. And as many of you may know, there's been some news recently regarding Sam Hulick. I know this news that I'm talking about today is about a month old. I apologise, I know I'm a bit late onto this, but I really wanted to speak my mind about going into the next game in the series. I also wanted to, in the video today, make a case for why music is so important for not only the Mass Effect series, but gaming as a whole, and why the next game in the Mass Effect series Bioware seriously need to consider rehiring, or at least, contracting out Sam Hulick and Jack Wall back into the Mass Effect series, and let's talk about it now. To be honest, other than the main theme and the Galaxy Map theme, I cannot think of a single track from Mass Effect Andromeda's soundtrack, and that's quite concerning to me that, the most up-to-date Mass Effect game, I just cannot think of any of the music. Like I said, the overall main menu and the Galaxy Map theme, in my opinion, are a pretty decent soundtrack. Overall, though, I just can't remember, I haven't gone and researched it or anything like that. I genuinely, on the top of my head, cannot remember any of the music from Mass Effect Andromeda. In my opinion, games have the power to deliver music that transcends the overall genre, and just yesterday I was actually out and about listening to classical music on the radio, like the true legend I am, only for the radio station to start playing Aerith's theme from Final Fantasy VII, as well as music from Tomb Raider, Super Mario, and more importantly, they actually played a cover of Vigil from the Mass Effect series, which was used in certain romance themes with your squad mates in the original trilogy, as well as it's the main menu theme from the original Mass Effect game. That game actually came on the radio, and it caused me to have a bit of a smile, I'm not going to lie to you. And in my opinion, at least, the original trilogy games had the better soundtracks and the more memorable, iconic music. I don't think I'll forget Tali's theme from Ranark, the theme used for EDI's body reveal in Mass Effect 3, or even the ambiance theme used for driving around in the Mako in the original Mass Effect. I don't think I'll forget any of it. It's so iconic, and I believe that for the next game, the upcoming game in the Mass Effect series, I think Bioware needs to return to making absolute bangers that are both memorable, iconic, and catchy. I mean, you think about it, some of the most iconic music and soundtracks in gaming have all of those three qualities in common. And in regards to the next Mass Effect game in the series, however, Sam Hulick shared an unused concept for a future Mass Effect theme over on Twitter last month. This then led the Mass Effect community and fans to rush with speculation that he could indeed return to compose for the next game, with even Sam himself doubling down and a few days later having to essentially go on social media and say that he has not been asked to return by EA or Bioware thus far, as he was probably getting so many messages after making that post. I mean, surely he has to know that a lot of people are expecting, the next Mass Effect game in the series, and there's quite a bit of following around it regarding Bioware, RPG and Mass Effect fans. So, he probably had to reply to this saying, no, I'm not working on the next game as of yet. And now, although it's not 100% confirmed or deconfirmed if Sam Hulick will indeed return, but since the game is still in pre-production and it probably won't launch for, probably 5 years plus, I think that's being very generous. We probably won't see it until 2028, 2029. I think it's safe to assume that Bioware probably haven't even, begun to work on the music yet. They probably, maybe, that they might have started it, but usually that comes a bit later on in the development process. So I think that there is still a great chance that he could be asked to return, even if it's just to only compose a few tracks as maybe a cameo piece. And he even went back to work on the Legendary Edition. Like, EA and Bioware asked Sam Hulick to return for the Legendary Edition to redo a few of the tracks as well as some new ones. So I think with all of that, you know, the fact that the game's in pre-production, the fact that he was asked to return for the Legendary Edition collection of the original trilogy, I think there's still a chance he could return for the next Mass Effect game. But it wasn't just Sam Hulick. Another composer who was instrumental to the original trilogy's success was, of course, Jack Wall. Many of you might recognise him as working on both the Mass Effect series as well as Call of Duty. He worked on mainly the Treyarch games, but he also did a few tracks for other games, I think for Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward, I'm pretty sure. But he worked on the Black Ops series, working on soundtracks for the overall campaigns, the multiplayer themes, as well as zombies maps such as Mob of the Dead, Shadows of Evil, Der Eisendrache, and much more. I'm a massive Call of Duty Zombies fan. I've done loads of videos on the channel regarding COD Zombies if you want to go check those out. And for me, Jack Wall is an amazing composer, and he's composed some of the most iconic, memorable tracks, for me at least, in all of gaming. And I guess the point I'm trying to make here in this video is that, in my opinion, Bioware should definitely seriously consider bringing back both Jack Wall and Sam Hulick back for the next Mass Effect game, as Andromeda, although it had some good tracks compared to the original trilogy, it's completely night and day difference. Honestly, go listen to the original Mass Effect trilogy soundtrack, and then go listen to Andromeda. It's completely night and day. I mean, obviously there's some similarities in terms of like synth, and you get loads of Tron vibes and I guess like cyberpunk, you know, vibes, but obviously that's no disrespect to Andromeda's composer, who was John Paciano, but Jack Wall and Sam Hulick's work is so iconic. Like I said earlier, I just personally prefer the original trilogy soundtrack to Andromeda's. Again, that's purely subjective, as you know, most art forms are, and I can still listen to the original trilogy soundtrack, both related and unrelated to Mass Effect, to this day, whether I want to, you know, just chill out or maybe just jam to some music. I mean, in a lot of my videos, I actually use their music specifically in the background, you know, as ambience, so that you can listen to my lovely voice whilst having some Mass Effect themed music in the background. I just find that the original trilogy soundtrack is just so good. The next Mass Effect game might be a do or die moment for Bioware, as their last two games with Andromeda, which had an extremely mixed reception and had loads of, I guess, performance issues at launch, and it sort of dented Bioware's reputation, as well as the fact that Anthem just failed and outright died as a live service. So this might be Bioware's last chance, along with obviously Dragon Age Dreadwolf, to deliver an unforgettable Mass Effect game, and I think that delivering an iconic soundtrack would be one step forward to get Mass Effect back into the spotlight by having iconic and memorable music. Not only that, but I think that obviously having a great soundtrack is, you know, something really good to have for the next Mass Effect game, but in terms of fan reception as well, because not only do they have the Legendary Edition, but for pulling older fans back, there would be quite a lot of people I think would return just hearing the name Sam Hulick or Jack Wall. You know, if they hear, oh, these guys that, you know, worked on the original games, oh, they're coming back, oh, I can't wait to pick up this game's soundtrack and maybe play the new game. A lot of people will probably have that response if they bring them back, so I guess this is a message directly to Bioware now. I definitely think that you should at least consider either bringing them back to compose the entire soundtrack, or maybe, like I said, even if it's one or two tracks individually or together, and, you know, either as a cameo or something like that, or maybe they could do like a cover or an updated remix of the Galaxy map theme, for example. I think that would be really cool for the new game. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video, and don't forget to tell me in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think that Mass Effect has an amazing soundtrack, and would you like to see the original composers return for the next game? And for more Bioware Mass Effect content on this channel, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. All my Twitter and Discord and all the rest of it is in the comments, in the description below, so don't forget to check that out. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.